She looked at me on my first day and made a decision. I could see it in her eyes. She had already decided what I was. She decided I was background, support, someone to hand things to and not think about again. She was wrong. It just took 5 years to prove it, and 18 months after I walked out of her team, I walked back in, as her boss. The expression on her face that morning is something I will never forget. I joined Arkan Software in 2017. Austin, Texas, mid-size cloud infrastructure company. My manager was a woman I'll call Claire Sutton, sharp, polished, 12 years at the company. Claire was excellent at her job. Genuinely, I want to be clear about that. What she was not excellent at was seeing potential in people she had already categorized. And she had categorized me within the first week. Quiet, reliable, not leadership material. That categorization never changed. No matter what I delivered, no matter what I built, I shipped a back-end optimization in my 3rd month that reduced server costs by 22%. Claire presented it to leadership. My name was mentioned once in passing as part of the team. I rebuilt our entire client onboarding pipeline in year 2, alone, over 4 months. It cut onboarding time from 11 days to 3. Claire received a departmental commendation for it. I asked about a senior engineer promotion in year 3. Claire said I was not quite there yet. She did not elaborate. She did not offer a path. She moved on to the next agenda item. I asked again in year 4. She said the team structure didn't currently support another senior role. 3 months later, she hired a senior engineer externally. That external hire had fewer years of experience than me, a smaller portfolio, and a confidence that I had learned by watching Claire respond to it, that she mistook for capability. I spent a week processing that. Then I made a decision. If Claire Sutton could not see what I was, I would find someone who could. I updated my portfolio. I reached out to 3 recruiters. I told myself I would give the process 90 days. On day 47, I received an offer from Meridian Systems, one of Arkan's primary competitors in the Austin enterprise market, Director of Cloud Engineering. 2 levels above my current role. Salary 62% higher than what Claire had approved for me year after year. Director, not senior engineer, not team lead. Director. I accepted without negotiating. The number was already more than fair. The title was the part that mattered. I resigned on a Monday morning. Claire read my letter with an expression I had never seen from her before, something between surprise and recalculation. She asked if this was about the promotion. I told her honestly it was about 5 years of being seen as less than I was. She had no response to that. My last day was clean, professional. I handed everything over completely and left without drama. I had nothing to prove on the way out. The proof was coming later. At Meridian, I moved quickly. The environment was different in ways I hadn't anticipated. Ideas I suggested were acted on. Strategies I proposed were funded. Work I produced had my name on it, fully, visibly, without translation through someone else's presentation. Within my first year at Meridian, I led the launch of a new client integration framework that became the company's fastest adopted internal tool in 3 years. My team grew from 4 engineers to 11. Within 18 months I was being discussed for a vice president role. The conversations were serious. The timeline was concrete. And then Arkan Software made an acquisition offer to Meridian. A full merger announced internally in October 2022. The integration process took 4 months. Org charts were redrawn, reporting lines were restructured, redundant roles were consolidated. In February 2023, the new combined engineering leadership structure was announced. I was named VP of Cloud Engineering for the merged entity, overseeing both the Meridian and Arkan infrastructure teams. Claire Sutton's team was folded into my division. She was offered a senior engineering manager role, reporting directly to me. I found out she had been informed the day before the announcement. I was told by HR that she had asked twice who the VP would be. When she was told my name, the meeting went quiet. The first morning I walked into that building as VP. She was already at her desk. She looked up when I came through the door. And for a long moment neither of us said anything. I walked over. I said good morning. I told her I was glad she had stayed through the transition and that I looked forward to working together. I meant every word, not as performance, as principle. Because here is what 5 years under Claire Sutton had taught me. The most powerful response to being underestimated is not revenge. It is arrival, showing up, in the room, at the title, with the authority, and being exactly as capable as you always were, just finally somewhere it can be seen. Our first team meeting as a combined division was on a Thursday morning. 16 engineers around the table, Claire seated midway down, me at the head. I opened the meeting the same way I open every meeting. I asked the room one question: what is the biggest problem we are not talking about? And then I listened. Claire spoke third. Her point was sharp, specific, and immediately useful. I told her so directly. She looked briefly surprised, and then something in her expression settled into something I hadn't seen there before. Respect, maybe, or the beginning of it. I think about year 3 sometimes, sitting across from Claire asking about a promotion she wouldn't give me, the careful way she moved past the question, the external hire 3 months later. She wasn't a villain. She was a person with a blind spot, a very expensive blind spot, for her and temporarily for me. But here is what blind spots do. They don't just limit the person who has them. They send capable people out the door, directly to the competition, and sometimes the competition sends them back with a better title. So here is what I want to leave you with. If someone in your professional life has decided what you are, and that decision doesn't match what you know yourself to be, you have 2 options. You can spend your career trying to change their mind, or you can go somewhere that never needed convincing. The second option is faster, and it tends to have a much more interesting ending.